Taco Charlton finally seized a starting job last season. The 6'6", 272-pound defensive end from Pickerington, Ohio, started 3 games against BYU, Penn State, and Ohio State, rushing past linemen to record a combined 10 tackles. Charlton unleashed his frustration on the Nittany Lions in a big way, squashing Christian Hackenberg for a career-best 2 sacks. Charlton was the linchpin for the U of M defense, shutting down the Lion running game and holding them to just 70 yards on the ground. For 3 seasons, it looked like Charlton may never start a meaningful game, whether it was his place on the depth chart or simply not being mentally prepared enough to be ready. In looking at film of those 3 starts last year, it's clear Charlton may have benefited the most from the coaching of Greg Madison and DJ Durkin. Charlton increased his burst off the ball and got into the backfield with regularity, but his motor really ramped up on the road versus Penn State. Charlton's best work came when he used his feet to piston off the edge and collapse the pocket. Charlton's awareness began to blossom as he realized that pushing the pocket resulted in more tackles for his defensive teammates. With Michigan up 7-3 late in the second quarter, Charlton wasn't fooled on a PSU misdirection, blowing past linemen to tackle Saquon Barkley behind the line. Charlton recorded his 2nd sack of the day in the third quarter, using his hands to find his way to Hackenberg and send him to the turf. Charlton's 5.5 sacks and his 8.5 tackles for loss in 2015 stood out in only 3 starts. Michigan football boasts a rich history along the defensive line, so narrowing the list to find Charlton's doppelganger proved difficult. His size, burst on the line of scrimmage, and late career growth points to one name in particular, Joaquin Feazell. If you lined up junior year versions of Charlton and Feazell, you'd see eerily similar reflections. Feazell stood 6'4", 268 pounds, and Charlton slightly topped his counterpart at 6'6", 272. Feazell's climb up the depth chart was slow, but the rise more impactful, considering he played on some of the more dominant defensive lines in school history from 1995 to 1998. Feazell started 6 games as a freshman, dropped to just 1 as a sophomore, and 3 on the national championship year of 1997, playing a key role as a reserve behind Glenn Steele and James Hall. Unfortunately for Feazell, playing second fiddle to All-Americans was necessary. Feazell moved gracefully after the snap, shedding blockers to reach the ball carrier. Similar to Charlton, Feazell's light came on near the end of his junior year. He turned in career-changing performances on the road at Penn State and was a disruptive force in home wins against Minnesota and Ohio State to keep the undefeated season alive. Feazell's first sack came practically unblocked in the first quarter in Happy Valley, following steals and setting the tone for the powerful Michigan defense. Feazell's forward momentum continued into his senior year of '98, racking up 41 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. Despite limited opportunity earlier in the season, Charlton was the 6th most productive defensive end in the country in 2015, with a colossal 41 pressures, that according to Pro Football Focus. If Charlton increases those numbers in 2016, and he should as he is expected to start at defensive end, he could be a huge component on one of college football's best defensive lines.